There are things I need of you, things you may not understand and may not wish to do, but please do not make the same mistakes I did. My father, Howard, deserted me before I was born. I could claim the loss of my mother, and the letter I received after her funeral blinded me to what I had to do. It would be a lie. Human nature sealed my downfall. My name is Philip. If we are lucky, then by the time you receive this, I will be dead. If fate frowns, we all perish. Welcome to my second attempt at recording a Let's Play. Again, I'm doing this mainly to show this game to a friend, but if anyone who happens to pass by enjoys what he sees, well, you're welcome to stay. I'd be glad. This is another horror game. Again, a very Lovecraftian game in my opinion. Very thick atmosphere, not much action. It was made by the same people who made Amnesia, which is more well known than this game, but especially because this game is not so well known, I want to show it to at least my friend and maybe other people as well. Let's just jump right in and then you will see what it's all about. My story began in February, year 2000.
For my part in this allegory, I'm not going to make the same mistakes my father made. Howard vanished from my mother's life before I was even in it, so when he sent me a letter a few days after Mum's funeral, it was the first I'd ever heard from him. Pity he was dead. Writing from beyond the grave must be a genetic habit in my bloodline. His letter contained a key, instructions, pleas for forgiveness. I figured the dead don't have much use for absolution, so I turned to his prophetic passing, which he inexplicably expected to come any day. Clearly averse to explanations, my father preferred to leave directions to a bank on Mayfair I'd never even heard of. In that bank was a safety deposit box in his name, and myself as executor. Of course, I went as he knew I would. I discovered that despite the evidence, he'd been legally declared dead almost 30 years ago, and so the old book and collection of notes I found had, in the eyes of the law, been mine all this time. My father's instructions were to burn the documents, raise no further questions. But that was his error. No man's immune to the shameful trappings of curiosity, and my humanity got the better of me. The university I taught at was world renowned for two things: physics and linguistics. I represented the first, and the man who stood for the second was stumped by my recent acquisition. The book was indecipherable. The notes, however, showed a location somewhere in uninhabited northern Greenland. It took me almost a year to book the last flight I'd ever take. As I watched civilization disappear along with Heathrow, I realised my father had disappeared 3 decades ago, almost to the day, and I considered in turn what it was that I was leaving behind. We landed on a strip of ice a few feet wide, and within minutes I was pulling away on a chartered boat, beginning the 12-hour journey that would lead me into my past.
Finally, we're almost docked. I'd better stow my gear. I may be far from home, but chances are I can still pick things up using left mouse, and I can take a closer look at things using right mouse. It's kind of funny how he puts the controls into his thoughts. I'll take it. Yes, it works. What I like about the beginning is how it immediately makes you feel very isolated, and immediately starts with a mystery. So there's this letter of his father that has texts and stuff in it that even a linguist at university couldn't decipher, couldn't understand, and lots of weird schematics and whatever, and some coordinates that if you enter them into Google Maps, for example, they will just show lots of snow and nothing else. And then apparently he decides maybe he doesn't really have any good friends or no relatives anymore, but yeah, he decides he goes there all alone to investigate. And, well, that's where we are now. I'm certain this map's a good decade or so out of date, but landmarks don't change much in Greenland, so I've got a pretty decent idea of where I'm heading. Always good to have a notebook to jot down interesting information and reminders. I think I left my torch in the desk drawer next to the bed. It can be opened using my left mouse on it, holding the button down and moving the mouse. This is something I liked about the game. It was quite a novel kind of controls. You have to click some things to grab them, and then you can move the mouse into the direction that you want the object to move. So basically you do the motion that you would do. You can even press R to lock the camera, so it works even better. And there are some physics puzzles in the game that also make use of putting items somewhere and all kinds of interesting stuff where you have to use these controls. I like that. The flashlight switches on and off via the inventory tab, or hopefully with the shortcut key F. Now where's that emergency glow stick? Should still be in the locker or keys in my inventory. So let's close this again. Oh, and there was a treasure chest here. Of course, seeing a treasure chest makes me want to know what's inside. You can use the mouse wheel to take things and look closer at that. Oh! Sorry, that was... Okay, if you press the right mouse button, you throw what you have in your hand, as we just learned. Dearest Eric, just a quick note before you set sail and leave me once again. I've left you a little something to remember me by in the chest at the foot of your bed. I really don't know why you still only have one bed on board. Taking shifts because of it is no way to get your rest. But what does a fisherman's wife know of life at sea? I'll be praying every night for you to make the catch you need, so that you can come home to me safely and soon. Please don't be gone for 5 weeks like last time. I know I might nag sometimes, but I do love you, you know. I've washed those overalls of yours. I know you'll get them covered in assorted fish parts in no time, but I still feel better knowing they've had a wash. Before I forget, the Henriksons in the village have asked me to see if you'll be coming by any trout. But I said they were mostly out of season. If you do happen upon any, don't say anything. Stow them well in the ice, and I'll do something special with them to celebrate when you come home to me. The ship's captain deserves a little special treatment once in a while. Take care, my love. Okay, we are not Eric, we're Philip, so I suppose that belongs to the guy with whom we shared a bed. Pretty arduous glide. I'm glad I'm getting out of here soon. They must eat and sleep and, well, do everything else in this one room for weeks at a time. Okay. Here's the inventory. His health, so you can actually die in this game. You can be attacked by things. You have a battery for you have battery power for your flashlight, so you shouldn't use it all the time. But you also, good thing I have my torch at hand. This country seems to exist in a permanent state of twilight. Yeah, you also have this. Could come in handy if the torch runs out of batteries. I should be able to access it through my inventory or with the shortcut key G. This should be everything I need. I want to get going before dark. Well, I'll also take some extra batteries to power my flashlight. So you have the glow stick as well, but of course that doesn't, the light of the glow stick doesn't reach very far compared to the flashlight. Okay. Well then, let's go. So now he's going to leave the ship, and he's going to visit those coordinates that were in his father's letter. As I stepped off the boat, setting out into the blizzard that had formed around me, I realized how utterly devoted I'd been to the discovery of my father's past. I had no idea what to expect. Soon enough, my concerns were justified. I don't know whether I lost my orientation or my spirit first, but I lost feeling in my extremities soon after, and knew hypothermia was setting in. I started looking for shelter. It's so cold. I don't know where I am. I need shelter soon. My entire head went numb a long time ago, but I can still hear the wind roaring past. Or is that some kind of animal in the distance? What in the hell is that? I don't care, I need shelter. It looks frozen shut. I need something to break in. Yeah, it doesn't move. I must break the ice. I should mention that this is not entirely blind, but also kind of blind, because... Oh, wait a second. If I click and hold the interact button, I should... Yeah. It's not entirely blind. I've played this game before, a few times even, but it has been ages since I did that, so there's definitely going to be a lot that I don't remember anymore. So I guess we could say it's half blind. Now, as the instructions say, I can lock the camera so I can do this. I hope to God it's not frozen inside as well. I'm so weak, but if I just do this... Jesus, my head. I can't believe I fell that far and survived. Although, looking around, maybe I didn't. What is this place? So these are pretty much the coordinates, actually, that he was supposed to go to, or at least close to them, because I mean, he kind of got lost. And he finds a hatch. And now, the feeling of isolation that I mentioned is complete. We're in fucking nowhere. Maybe nobody knows we're here? I'm not sure if Philip told anyone, or... Also, how would they find him in this random-ass place? And we're all alone, we can't go back up. And we have this weird hatch and fucking creepy music. Anybody here? It's a wooden door, I hope it's open. And of course it's not. There's something. A steel rod. A basic wooden door. Now you even have to open doors with this mechanic. These shelves are as old as everything else around here. Could be over 50 years since anyone's been down here. Let's see, I can swing this hammer if I hold left mouse. And yeah, that's just explanations for the controls. I don't think I should read them. Flare. They're like a hotkey for the flares? Well, I can put things over here as well, which I'm going to do with the hammer now. Empty boxes of ammunition. What is this place? This wooden shelf is slowly falling. Oh. This hole has been boarded up a long time ago. The wood looks pretty soft now. Oh, it was easy. What was that? Oh. That's... Okay. This looks like some kind of industrial mechanism, although there's a hole in the center and no way to operate it. Well, I think I can use this. Yep. Ah, look at that. If I turn this. Here. This is probably the door that was blocked. This is the only way. I don't know where this leads or what's waiting for me, but unless I want to starve to death, it's my only option. Besides, maybe this place has something to do with my father. That looks ominous. Whatever I was descending into, it was 100 feet below ground, protected by 2 solid metal hatches, located in a remote Arctic wilderness and buried beneath the snow. I didn't know what to expect, but it made me feel something I hadn't felt since I was a child. I'd never given it much thought before, but I realized that our entire society is a network of safety nets. Emergency services at the end of a phone line, health and safety in the workplace, friends, family, lovers, all there if something goes wrong, part of a carefully designed structure to prevent all but the most mundane of emotions. Once again, I felt like I did when I was in school, surrounded by a closing ring of older kids, knowing anyone that might help me, friends, parents, teachers, were too scared or too far away. Jotted down a note just in case. I'm stuck. What's the note? Whoa, and what was that? There could be anything living down here. Heroics are for Hollywood actors and fairy tales. I'm not taking any chances. If I face off against anything down here, I won't last a second. Caution and stealth are my only defenses now. If anyone or anything hears me, I'd be best off staying low and out of sight until I know whether or not it's a threat. Crouching by pressing left control will give me the chance to hide in the shadows. I know I've got it right because of the blue tint to my vision. Plus, I should be quiet enough that I won't be heard unless something's right on top of me. Better remember to shut off any light sources, though. Okay. My best bet is to hide for a couple of seconds or so perfectly still. That'll make me properly hidden. The entrance to the cave is caved in. There must be another way out. Like that, I'll be virtually invisible, and after some time I should get my night vision back, provided I stay still. But this is kind of like a night vision if you stay still. There's an office and a storage. Let's visit the office. There it is. Oh no, workshop. It's new. Okay. What are you? It's a picture of a British platoon. It must date back to World War II. I suppose this mine was converted into some kind of bunker. Buckstrin. Okay. 15th of August 1945. Okay. This place seems to be old. Command bunker, emergency airstrip, Zulu, weekly report. Another unremarkable week in Greenland. Regular supply shipment received, standard emergency drills carried out, routine runway maintenance completed. I have ordered maintenance be carried out twice weekly from here on in due to increased snowfall. 1 wounded. The 1 wounded figure is no cause for concern back in London. The Germans haven't extended their front line by 4,000 miles. 2 of my men were caught manufacturing cherry bombs in our workshop armory and succeeded in blowing off a couple of fingers. I take partial responsibility for this in that I allowed them access to the demolitions manual we keep in the storeroom, and I'm sure that's where they learned the ingredients. As a precautionary measure, I have now locked up that manual in the chest in my office and will keep the key on my person at all times. Needless to say, both men have been disciplined, and the injured man has been sent home for medical care. I cannot help but think that a more suitable punishment would have been for him to stay out here, but the matter is out of my hands. This base is so disconnected sometimes. I feel as if this war could end, and we might not even hear about it out here. Supplies requisition order. Dynamite for excavation purposes. 7 bayonets, not necessary in my opinion, but procedure states we should have a full complement. 1 industrial ice pick for removing the damn ice that forms on the external hatch. 1 pair of reading glasses, category 7C. An order for myself, my glasses are in a rather poor state of repair and could do with replacing. Reconditioning of the mine continues to progress. The structure is being fortified from potential bomb damage, and excavation of previously caved-in areas is going ahead. 1 point of curiosity is some kind of archaeological find, an artifact buried in the earth, and discovered by one of the work teams. Later this evening, after martial duty, I shall take a closer look at the artifact. It appears to be man-made, and may have working parts inside. I shall remove what looks like the front cover and see if I can't discover the source of the light which constantly emanates from it. Chief NCO and Major. Must be this thing. A man. An old man clutching something unseen. He is strange, and yet he is no stranger. Never seen before. Still I know this man before me is Howard. I call him father. What the hell? What just happened? I don't know if that was such a good idea. Copenhagen Post, Monday, 17th of August, 1930. That's even older. Psychotropic deposits at the bottom of Death Mine? Researchers at the University of Copenhagen have suggested that mind-altering chemicals naturally sown into the rock may be the cause of high suicide rates at the Greenland mine. The university, which has recently been conducting studies into isolated communities, first became interested in the workers of the northwestern lead mine last year. Lead mine, I think, sorry. They discovered that even taking into account Greenland's naturally higher suicide rate, local figures for the last 100 years were abnormally high, at 46 deaths per 100,000 populace compared to the national average of 29. On further investigation, experts diagnosed in many of the miners symptoms in common with the earlier stages of paranoid schizophrenia. This has prompted researchers to hypothesize that natural deposits of lysergic acid, a pH4 formula recently discovered to have hallucinogenic properties, may be present in the rocks. Few locals were conducive to interview, but those who agreed to speak had their own explanation. Inuit spirits known as the Turenguide live in the mountains. The university is awaiting the result of chemical testing. Studies continue. Interesting. And a small key. Ooh, batteries. Batteries holding up. Oh, oops. Beef jerky. It's locked, but maybe this is the key for it. And indeed it is. Big Book of Explosives, 1923 edition. Chapter 1.3, Black Match Fuse. The black match fuse is one of the oldest, simplest, and most reliable fuses used in modern pyrotechnics. It is easy to create, essentially consisting of just string and gunpowder, but be warned, the chemicals concerned will stain clothing, and as always, due concern is advised. Materials required are a string, preferably cotton, black gunpowder, backstrin, oh, we found that, The string should be coated with a thin layer of Bextran, which acts as an adhesive. The string is then carefully rolled in the gunpowder and left to dry at least a couple of minutes before use. Chapter 2.1 Dynamite. Invented by Alfred Nobel in 1866, dynamite is commonly used in construction, mining, and demolition. It has proved far safer to handle than alternatives such as pure nitroglycerin, provided that it has been properly stored. Over time, the explosive component of dynamite, supposedly made safe by the presence of the diatomaceous earth, has a tendency to weep, making an old box of the explosive liable to detonate on contact. Materials required are 1 part diatomaceous earth, 3 parts nitroglycerin, and a small amount of sodium carbonate. Text is unreadable, and then simply form into short sticks and wrap in paper. Chapter 2.3 Trinitrotoluene, TNT. TNT was first discovered in 1863 by German chemist Josef Wilbrand, but it took some years before it yielded its true potential. This was because of the difficulty of making it explode and the lesser detonation in comparison to dynamite. The main advantage was discovered by the German Navy, who employed TNT's relative explosive stability in order to cause massive damage to British warships. Their torpedoes could be detonated inside a ship's armor rather than exploding on contact as did other shells. And finally, Chapter 2.6 Armstrong's Mixture. Armstrong's Mixture is included in this book as more of a point of interest than as a viable chemical mix. The formula exists as somewhat of a legend in modern pyrotechnics, referenced by those knowledgeable enough to stay away from it as death mix. Its incredible volatility make it unsuitable for almost all potential applications. Materials required are red phosphorus and barium. This mixture can be carefully and slowly mixed to minimize risk to the chemist. Sulfur can substitute for some or all of the barium to slightly decrease sensitivity. Anything else here? Oh, painkillers. Those are. Vaguely remember them. Or beef jerky. And that's it. I'll just leave the doors open. So much history in this place, tied up in words and left to decompose. Oh god, is there something? I can't wait here for whatever's around the corner. I need to. Oh shit. Okay. I should turn my light off. I don't even want to go out again. Let's see. Jesus, I've never been this scared in my life. I can feel my heart racing. If anything gets within more than a few feet of my hiding spot, I'd better not stare it out. Anything within my field of vision might panic me, and then I'm a goner. So basically, you're not even allowed to look at it, or you go insane. What if I throw this? Stone. This way. Huh, what is this? It's locked. Maybe I should have looked around before I turned on the light. Oh shit. Looked from the other side. Does that mean there's someone still inside? I can hear chattering. Thank God, maybe I can get some answers. Why doesn't he open the door? If this lighter wasn't empty, it'd be a handy thing to have. Oh. You hear that? It's locked. Just old paint and a block. This shows some kind of trapdoor. That with the square with 3 circles. Minus 3 circles equal. Oh, that's the square. Circle. It's 3 circles. Trapdoor. This trapdoor must lead deeper into the rock to some kind of basement. Do I really want to know what's down there? Let's find out next time.